Hi, I'm Paul Salmon. I'm a psychic medium. My guest today is the Reverend Denise Masherpa. Hi, Denise.
Hello, Paul. Lovely to see you.
And you again.
Yes, been ages, absolutely ages.
Now, I know you've been in spirituality life or world for...
Good few years,
I'm going to say a number of years.
Yes.
But when we met up, you wasn't a minister at the time.
No, I wasn't, not at that stage.
What made you decide to become a minister?
Well, it had been muted to me on several occasions, and I thought, no, I don't need it. I can do everything as I am. And then it came up again and again, different people, different areas. And I thought in the end, I'll have a word with them upstairs. And I said, if I'm meant to be a minister, could you please give me a sign, because confused.com down here. And I thought, I just left it at that. I thought, fine, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. And I was at church one Sunday, several months later, probably about 6 months later, listening to the speaker, who was also a minister, and I didn't know that she was a minister. And she was just a nice young girl, and she said she'd been nervous about becoming a minister because she was a bit out there and a little bit risque sometimes. I thought, this sounds familiar.
Is that because you're a bit risque?
It has been known, Anyway, she was just talking, and it was literally an epiphany. There was like this, boom, this light went over my head, and I was like, can everybody see that I'm lit up now? And it just happened. It was just 2 words she said. She was talking about working in a hospice. And I thought, yes, I want to do that. And I went home, spoke to Lynn, who was Reverend Lynn Swart, and told her that I wanted to be a minister. And she said, well, why are you telling me? I've always told you you're going to be one. And it went from there, and then she came down. I mean, you were invited, weren't you? But you weren't able to come down. And the Worthing Spiritualist Church, who I'm also a member of, allowed the ordination to take place there, which was lovely. And it happened on my birthday, which was nice. And all my family and friends came from literally all over the world. Yeah. And it was a really emotional day, and it was lovely. And it just felt very right, as if that was the next stage of my progression.
It's like another calling.
Yes. I still do all the same things, just a little bit extra, I suppose, now. It's just, it feels right, and don't ask me why, it just feels right that I should be.
Is there like a certain amount of training? Is it a couple of years or?
Well, this is what worried me slightly, and I spoke to Lynn, and she said, look, how long have you been working with me? And I said, 10, 12 years. She said, well, do you not think that's, if you went to university, you'd only be there a couple of years doing it. You have all the knowledge, Denise.
And you've got all the qualifications.
Precisely, just do it. She said, when I first went to her, I was a Reiki practitioner. I'm now a Reiki master teacher. She taught me spiritual healing, which I teach as well now. She taught me mediumship, and I thought you couldn't be taught that. Right. But I discovered very early that you could, and everything else has just progressed. I mean, I went to school all my life, all my school years in a Catholic school, so I did, I knew the Bible sort of back to front and inside out. We had to.
So how did you meet this Lynn? And
well,
that's your doorway, was it into spiritualism?
Yes, without a doubt. I was learning Reiki, and my Reiki master had asked me to go along and do a demonstration in the pavilion in Worthing, where I live. And there was a medium coming, and I'd never ever seen a medium work or anything. Anyway, we were up on a dais doing our work, and the crowds parted. And this woman came through with an entourage, and being very spiritual, I said, blimey, I said, what's this, the second coming? And she said, that's the medium. I said, oh, right. She said, do you want to go up and see her? I said, yeah. So I went up into this room where it was, and I was petrified. I thought, oh, please don't look at me, don't talk to me. And when I went down again, my master said to me, well, what did you think? I said, oh, I don't know. A few weeks later, she phoned me and said, oh, I've got a lady coming round, and she's going to talk to us about spiritual healing. I thought, okay, I'm doing Reiki, I'll carry on with that. And as I drew up, it's a summer evening, and I was walking towards her gate, and coming along was this woman that I'd seen. And I said, oh, good evening. I said, I thought it was going to be you. She said, oh, is this the time you do a runner? And I thought, yeah. I said, oh, no, I'm really looking forward to it. Well, within 10 minutes, I'd fallen in love with this woman. She was just amazing. And she told us that she could teach us this, and that she could also teach us mediumship, and I queried that, but along I went, and that's how I started in Circle, and I learnt very quickly with her, and she was absolutely amazing woman, very, very clever. And from there I fledged, which you do with mediums. You have a night where you all stand up and give messages to the public.
For those who don't know, a fledge is what we call a beginner, isn't
yes,
it?
Yes,
To
and
start
you
working
sit
as a
there
medium.
absolutely petrified,
Yeah.
and you think nothing's going to happen, and then you stand up and it happens. And from there we started a church, because she'd said to me, you know, one day, Denise, when we start a church, I said, no, I can't possibly do that. And she said, well, one day when you're teaching, Denise. I said, absolutely not. No, I'm not a teacher. And the last thing, she said, well, when you become a minister, Denise. I said, no, that is the last straw. I said, if I become a minister, I will be in pink. My outfit will be half price in next sale, and I'll be dripping in diamonds. She said, I don't care what you wear, dear, you be one. I said, no, I won't. And this went on for years. And of course, I said this when I stood up on my ordination, and I was in pink and in a half-price outfit, and it happened that way. It was meant to be. She saw it. I didn't understand in the early days that people, you can see through people. I can see through people now, know what's going to happen.
You can't see through me, can you?
Can too.
Yeah. Might have to start this interview
I'm still
again.
here. I'm still here. How dare you? No, you just learn to read people.
Okay.
And then spirit comes in as well. Obviously, you have those messages coming in. But she knew instantly that that's where I was meant to be, as apparently everybody else except me did. So here I am.
And you're still in touch with this lady?
Oh, good gracious me, yes, because she was living down in Sussex at the time when I met her. She'd lived all over the world. She was a London lady. And they moved back to London, and then they moved up to Cambridgeshire, where they used to live, her and her partner. And she started the New Spiritualist Society. And I thought, oh my goodness, what's she doing now? Because she wanted to bring spiritualism back to its grassroots, good messaging, good evidence, ethics, how you spoke to people in public, everything to do with it being ethical and correct. And I ummed and ahed with this for a while, and I went up and visited her still, because she is a lovely lady. And she had a certificate for me to join this society, which I did. And she said, you have noticed I've left a space at the beginning. I said, yes, I've noticed it. I know what you're doing, because she was still banging on about me being a minister. And then when I told her, obviously, she came down and ordained me. And I'd been visiting her, and while I was visiting her, there was an ordination going on up there with a gentleman called Guy Taylor, who's become a good friend of mine now, and he lived in Sussex. But I don't remember meeting him before. He remembered me because I'd stood up with Lynn at some point and done a demo. And I went to his ordination, as I say, by accident, and then I was ordained. By that time, he had become friends with me, and we were sort of working together, sort of. And then we got 2 other people, and hence the Sussex branch started. So we're doing a lot down here. But the actual New Spiritualist Society, there's an awful lot going on in Cambridgeshire, in Littleport, in Spain, in London.
When you say a lot going on, what do you mean?
Well, they've got a church going on there. And there's a lovely young gentleman called Nick Brown, who's the minister there, who Lynn has known since he was 18. I think he's 30 now. And there's a lot of other ministers that have been ordained up there. So they're kind of spreading out and just doing different things, teaching. Yes. And I mean, obviously, as you know, with a spiritualist church, if we're lucky, we have a complete building, but they're usually left to us by somebody who's like, well, I'm still waiting. But we can set a church up anywhere. We call like a suitcase church, really. We just set one up here today if you wanted to. If, you know, all you need is a minister and a congregation, you know. So yes, there's a lot being spread out. London, going up north, Spain, America. A lot of interest in it.
New society on the website said we want to, or part of the reason is to educate the general public about decent mediumship.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, as I'm sure you've seen, you know, I always say to my pupils, go and see as many mediums as you can, in as many demonstrations as you can. One, you will realise that you are just as good, possibly better sometimes. You will also know when there's somebody that's not quite as ethical as they should be, shall we say. not giving evidence, because any of us can say, you know, I feel love, I feel this wonderful warmth coming through. I said there's nothing wrong in saying that, but get the person, explain to them who this person is. So we try. There are many ways to work as a medium. Some people throw it out to the entire audience. I was taught to go to a person, may I work with you? Yes, fine. Then you wait, spirit will come through. You explain to that person who you've got through, what vibration they've come through. Is it mother, grandmother, father, whatever, friend? And you get to know that yourself. Every individual medium has a sign to know what type of people they're talking to. Explain what that person looks like, some of the characteristics. Then you start talking about evidence that only they would know about. Because so many times people say, well, if you can talk to the dead, how come you don't, you know, change the world, politics and all that? It's not about that. The evidence, the mundane evidence we're giving to say, you know, you were gardening yesterday and you put your spade in the wrong place upside down or something, only they know that. Yeah. So immediately they know that is correct, because nobody else knows that, and I certainly don't know it. We don't need to talk about politics or world wars and all this. Yes, we do pray that goes, but it's not our place, it's choice. We can pray for the people that are in positions of power, that they do change their mind at some point, but it's not about telling them what to do, because this world is not like that. It's a bit of a, how can I put it? The world it's an experiment, really, and for people to learn how they should be. There's choices, good choices, bad choices. What happens when you make bad choices? And it is very much down to you. The same as I would tell people that I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not going to tell them that they're going to have a great big house, marry the man of their dreams. They may well do, but I'm not going to tell them when it's going to happen, because they will just focus on that, and they'll miss out on so many other important things in their life en route.
What spiritualism mean to you, Denise? Reverend Denise now, sorry, I'll be...
You call me Rev, you've known me too long enough. It means, when I was learning, when I first went to Circle, I thought, this is very interesting. Did I really do that? Did I really speak to, you know, I suddenly realised, and it was Easter time, and I remember waking up one morning and just sort of coming to and thinking, oh my goodness, yes, this is what I believe in. This is, I couldn't deny it now. If my life depended on it, I would have to stand up and say, I am a spiritualist. This is what I believe in. And nothing and no one will ever change that view again. And it just, a sense of belonging, as if everything had come together. The jigsaw had suddenly fitted together. That's how I can anyway explain it.
What's the responsibilities of a minister?
What's the responsibilities of anybody? As a minister, that's one of the reasons I didn't for ages. I thought, oh no, I'll have to be good, I'll have to behave myself and not do anything naughty and all that sort of thing.
It's difficult.
It is difficult, it is, trust me. It's people will come to you for advice, so you've got to you give ethical advice. You've got to listen more than give advice. You've got to learn how to listen to people, make people feel comfortable, and not be judgmental in any shape or form. Just listen to that person as an individual, and if they've been good enough to come to you and they trust you, then you've got to just be calm and patient with them so that they will come again. And it's not about converting the whole world to spiritualism. It's entirely up to the individual what form and practice they want to follow. If you're a good Catholic, why become a poor spiritualist? Or vice versa. It's lovely if everybody did become spiritualists, because that's what I believe in, but I'm not there to say you must be, you must do this. All you need to do is be the person you want to. We embrace all religions. Anybody can come to us, and there's an awful lot of people in many denominations that are spiritual, far more spiritual than they think they are, really. So, I mean, there's a difference between spiritual and spiritualist. It doesn't matter. It's just being able to talk to people and give them good advice. But 9 times out of 10, it's a bit like being a counsellor. By the time they've spoken to you, they've made their own choices and made their own mind up.
Have you still got time to be a medium as a working
Oh
medium?
gosh, yes. Yes, and it is. Lynn said to me, she said, oh, the world will open up for you now. And very slowly it is. I do churches, a lot of churches, gatherings anywhere, do a lot of teaching, house clearances.
I want to let the people know that it's this lady who got me involved in giving talks on orbs and my slideshows.
Gosh, that's going back a bit, yes.
Isn't it? But you saw me on Facebook, I think.
I did, yes, that's how we started,
And you said, come along, give a talk. I thought, oh dear. And so publicly, that's difficult to say at this time of morning. So thanks to you, because you set me on a new path, you know, a new way of life.
Well, it was meant to be.
But I came down to Worthing.
Yeah.
And we had this 60-odd people watching me and doing the show. But that was part of Swans, wasn't
Yes.
it? Now, can you tell us what Swans is all about?
Well, going back slightly to when I was in Lynn's circle, she set up the Doris Stokes Memorial Church. And we went along as her circle and helped her run it. And then she went back to London, and we didn't feel at that time that we should be running a church because it was a big responsibility. People look up to you as a minister, and Lynn had been our minister. So we closed for a while, and then we reopened, and we decided to call ourselves Swans, which stands for Spiritual Workshop and Nurturing Sanctuary. So we started that, and it's been going very well. We have meetings once a month, and then within that month, last year, we had a few extra meetings, not just mediums visiting. It could be demonstrations on pendulums, on angels, on anything, talks basically. And that is still going strong. It's not part of the New Spiritualist Society. No, it's my organisation that I run with Claire and Graham, who you met when you came down. And that runs very nicely. People come along, and we've got our carol service coming up this Friday, which we don't charge for. They just come along, and we have a naming service as well. And we put names in the book of people that have passed, and then I read these out, and it's quite moving. The New Spiritualist Society is another hat I put on, but they all know, as the person who runs Swans, that is what I am, a minister with them, but it doesn't stop me doing anything else. They're two separate things, but they do blend together. They come across, so,
And I believe you do charity work as well.
Yeah, we raise money mostly for Worthing Church's homeless. We have a box on our table, because I've been doing a lot of work for them long before I was doing this. And we have healing at the end of a demonstration, and by donation they want to put in. So we raise quite a lot of money that way, and they send us letters so people can see what's going on. And it's you've got to put something back in to the community, and I think it's a local charity, which I think is important. So all the money goes to supporting these people and getting them back on into society again.
It's just a question just come to me now. Has spiritualism got a bright future?
I think so.
Where did that come from? That came from somewhere.
I wonder why that was. Yes, of course it has. Yes, it'll always be there. It's always been there. It's far more spoken about now than it ever was. You know, people used to think we were, going to turn green and our heads would swivel round, and we were bringing in the devil.
Mine does, according to some people,
Depends how many we've had to drink first. No, it's got a very good future, and it's far more spoken about now. Alternative therapies, healing, this sort of thing. It's always been there, but we're with the New Spiritualist Society. I suppose you could say that it's getting a little bit more, not regimented, but organised, and the ethical side of it needs to be shown a lot more. And we speak about it. Nobody thinks we're slightly batty. Well, they probably do, but they don't admit it. And we are, truth to tell. It's got to be said. You've got to be slightly out there. But yes, it has a very good future. And what really annoys me is, the television, things like this that say, this is for entertainment only. Well, excuse me, it's not entertainment, it's my belief, my religion. You have no right to tell me I'm doing that just for entertainment.
That's a bugbear of mine as well.
It's not on. And I wouldn't have that under any title I put there, I mean, they're fine. A lot of people do find it entertaining, a bit like hypnosis, and I don't particularly believe that should be entertaining either. There are reasons for that. I just wouldn't have it. I am a spiritual minister. I am a medium, and I don't stand up to give you messages from spirit for entertainment.
No.
To help you, to give you comfort that your loved ones are there with you. That's what I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it to, say hallelujah, look at me, and I'm, the greatest medium that's ever walked the earth or anything like that. It's not about that.
No.
It's just quietly just getting on with it and helping people.
Have you got an inkling of what the afterlife might be like?
Well, I think it's lovely, and I don't think we can possibly explain what it's like. It's like meeting that perfect person. Until you've met them, you don't know what it's like. I know it's good. I have no fear of passing over at all now. I can't wait. I can wait a little bit longer, just for the moment. There's one or two things I want to do down here, but I'd be quite happy when I'm over there.
Yeah.
I've told everybody I'm coming back as 30, so they better recognise me. But no, I just think it's a continuation on. We do not die. You cannot destroy an atom.
No.
What happens to it? Yes, you can change the particles, but we're there. We're still there. We're just in a different form. Ball of light, you've done your orbs.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favourite pictures that you took was the one in the field,
Yeah.
which was your father. I love that one. That's what we are, but I can't say to somebody in an audience, I've got this ball of light with me. Can anybody take it? It's not going to happen. I've got to explain that this is grandma or granddad or your best friend and what they look like. But we don't need a body. A body is just an overcoat we leave behind.
With this energy underneath, aren't we?
Precisely. We are a soul with a body, not a body with a soul.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Just before we finish off, have you got time for hobbies or other interests?
Well, I used to do a lot of amateur dramatics, which was lovely, and probably helped me because now I have to stand up and talk and that sort of thing. It does help a little bit. I don't do that so much now, though I do visit the theatre. I love that. My job at that particular time, I had to stop doing that because once you've committed to a play, you need to be there to support everybody else. What else do I do? I do a lot of reading, I don't have a lot of time for hobbies. I do have a lot of friends. I'm very lucky, and we socialise a lot and go out and
Is
enjoy
that your way
ourselves.
of relaxing, do you think?
I think so. Yes, I like being around my family and my friends, and just doing things, and any causes that are on there, I can usually get involved in somewhere along the line.
And of course, you live near the coast, don't you?
Which is fabulous, absolutely fabulous for walks.
You're fortunate
and
that
just
way, aren't
sitting. I mean, I can see the sea out of my living room window, which is lovely. I do like that very much. I've always been very drawn to the sea. Yeah.
Lovely.
But what I do get annoyed is when people say, well, that's your hobby, isn't it? I say, no, that's my life. That's not my hobby. No, that is who I am.
You are a Reverend and a Bishop, and that's your way of life.
Yeah.
You're a spiritualist.
Yes.
And thank you for coming to see me today.
Thank you.
What a lovely way to end.
Yes, lovely.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you. Lovely to see you again.
And see you again next week.